Hey everybody, Jeff Gersman, got Eddie from Gamespot here with me too. We're just fresh after the PlayStation 4 unveiling here in New York. Pretty exciting show. Eddie, what'd you think?
I mean, there were definitely a handful of surprises, and we did finally get to see that PS4 is in fact real,
right,
and that it's coming holiday 2013, which I wasn't quite sure. I mean, it's not a date,
yeah,
but it's a
window.
Season.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, but they didn't, didn't go into price, didn't go into specifics on the date, didn't show the form factor.
No, not that at all. That's a big question.
I would have actually expected the box to be here before some of the other stuff that they showed, but they went deep on like the interface, like the features of the interface and kind of the social aspects of the console.
And the fact that it's all going to be, that stems from the architecture. It starts there and it builds outwards from there, and they are taking it very seriously.
Yeah, they're spinning it as kind of like, hey, we went and talked to developers about what they wanted out of a console, and this is what they came back with. I mean, it really seems like a big reaction to a lot of the biggest complaints about the PlayStation 3. It was developed without kind of the ubiquitous voice chat that the 360 enjoyed. The front end clunky at times. Patch installs and firmware updates and all this other stuff. It seems like they're very they dedicated a lot of time to things like, hey, you'll be able to download stuff in the background, and hey, you'll be able to...
They said downloads would be instant, or much quicker, which is a big pain for a lot of PlayStation 3 gamers.
Definitely. They'll have like almost like that Guild Wars 1 style of download some chunk of the game, Diablo 3 had it also, start playing the game, and then it'll download the rest in the background as you're playing kind of the opening moments, which could be pretty slick.
We also got to see the controller.
Yeah, finally confirmed the controller. Yeah. That really is a headphone jack on the bottom of it. I thought it was just going to like dispense Axe body spray in a direction.
That would be a good feature
that was
as well.
The rumor beforehand.
Right.
It was the Axe controller, but
we didn't get to see. Did we get to see what the touchpad is actually for?
Well, they were in the Unreal Engine 4 demo. He was using the touchpad to move the camera around, but they did say it would be multi-touch, and that's about it. They didn't necessarily get into too much detail, but they're getting rid of like the select button and the start button.
We do have the share button though,
right?
Which is now going to records the past 10 or 15 minutes, and then you just get to send that information, send the videos, straight to the internet, and they're saying that's. It's different from the screenshots that it used to be, but now it's video.
Yeah. So chunks of your video. It'll also be able to live stream your gameplay if you want to do that. Looks like they've got a deal with Ustream in place for that sort of stuff. So if you just want to go live, like Black Ops 2 style, only it'll work. You could, or theoretically, I guess we don't know if it'll work, but
it should work.
It should work. I would think. I think Black Ops 2 works now. Now that I think about it. So they will have the ability to just straight up broadcast from the console. They showed glimpses of that new stereo camera, 2 lenses on it, but didn't ever really say what.
No, is that going to be sold separately? Is that going to be bundled? What is?
I suspect that'll end up in every box. Yeah. That's good. The talk about Microsoft as well. I think with the Kinect coming out late in the life cycle just proved that if you create that split, no one's ever going to use it right. So I would not be surprised to see it everywhere.
And we did see with the new camera, there's no talk of Wonderbook. Maybe we thought that Wonderbook would live on, but maybe it won't.
Yeah, but they did actually mention the Move. There was one Move demo shown, Media Molecule, showing some sculpting. And some puppeteering with the Move controller that looks cool. I don't necessarily know how you turn that into a game.
If anyone could do it, maybe they could.
Yeah, that seems pretty likely. But yeah, I mean, well, I guess enough talk about the system itself. It's got 8 gigs of RAM and specs. You can
all the specs are online.
Go read the specs. Me reading specs to you over the internet is a bad way to learn that information. So, games. They actually showed kind of a lot.
A handful of games.
Yeah.
A handful of games. One that. Skip to the big surprise was Diablo 3 coming to consoles, coming to PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 3 with 4-player co-op and completely optimized for it. That I didn't see it coming.
Yeah, did not see that coming. Diablo for the PlayStation 1 worked pretty well. You had direct control over the character, so this could probably work reasonably well. I know they've been thinking about this for a while, so. That was pretty crazy. But I feel like for as much as I enjoyed Diablo 3 when it came out, it seems like the opinion on that game turned pretty heavily after release.
It absolutely did.
So I don't know that that's something that people are like, yeah!
I don't know, though. Dungeon Crawler on a console from Blizzard, it's...
Yeah, and that does lay the groundwork for future work with Sony and Blizzard. It's kind of hard to say where that'll go. First party stuff, Evolution Studios came out and showed Drive Club, their new driving game. Kind of a Forza look, I think we can say.
It was pretty interesting because the first-person perspective doesn't start when you're just in the car. You get to open the hood and open the door, put on your seatbelt.
It looked like more than just they had that mode where you can walk around the cars in Forza, but this looks like it's almost like first-person
You think you
game
can pump
that
your
you
own
can
gas
just
with it too? You think that's part of it?
change your own tires. You're your own pit. That's actually there will be. It's all team-based racing. So you talk about forming clubs and all this other racing. So maybe the rest of your team is just your pit crew. And you just pull in and they'll change the tires and do all that sort of stuff, right? Let's see some sequels to games, but they didn't just slap numbers onto stuff.
No, the Killzone.
Shadowfall. Yeah.
Which, I mean, it did have the feel of Killzone 2 and it had of a look of Killzone to it. But yeah, it wasn't just Killzone 4, which we thought was maybe coming.
Yeah, and way more colorful, I'd say, than you expect from a modern shooter. It kind of looked like that they had just invaded a Ratchet and Clank level or something with horrible terrorist attacks. I guess Ratchet and Clank is pretty dark now that you think about it. But and then Infamous Second Son. Yeah. Which they put Second Son first and then threw the Infamous up there at the very end to remind you, like, hey, we make Infamous.
It is also an Infamous game.
Right, yeah. And I guess that'll, new character or characters.
Same kind of powers, in a way.
Yeah.
It reminded me very much of the first two games.
Weirdly enough, it reminded me of Prototype. But I guess that's just been a constant confusion between those two games all along, right? Gosh, what else?
We didn't see anything from Naughty Dog.
Yeah, nothing from Naughty Dog. So they do have a team. They have a team. Gosh.
Nothing from God of War.
No Santa Monica stuff. Oh, the Japan studio game that Mark Cerny's directing.
Blanking on the name. It starts with a K.
Knack. Sorry.
Knack.
I had it like a second ago. Knack. Yeah, that looks like you're kind of like collecting bits to make your guy bigger or blasting yourself apart to get small.
And it's also going to be one of the remote play games as well, so you play it on your Vita, play it on your PS4.
Do you think that that'll be a game-specific thing? Or it almost sounded like when they started talking about the system-level stuff that just might be everything.
That's what they were saying. I think the quote was, we're trying to get this for every single game that you can go in between the two. Which,
that's, I don't know that I would use that, but that's
it would
cool.
be a cool feature to have.
And they did touch on, it sounds like the Gaikai stuff when they acquired Gaikai. Some of that is kind of permeating a lot of different things with, you being able to stream your games out or having friends spectate your games and even take over controlling your game to give you some assistance along the way, which is an interesting sounding feature that I think that leverages some of that Gaikai stuff. And they talked about, the possibility of the entire PlayStation back catalog appearing through a cloud streaming service like that.
And then they were also talking about the PlayStation Store being able to, stream the games before you buy them, which I think would be a big thing for players there.
Yeah, I think that's one of those things that, so like the concept there would be that they will try to predict what you're going to buy next and just download it for you, and then when you buy it, you already have it. It's interesting. It's one of those things that I'm sure they will have to put controls in to disable it because some people are on metered bandwidth and all that sort of stuff. They would just never do that. But that sounds like an outgrowth of the way PlayStation Plus auto downloads patches and stuff like that. So that could be pretty cool if it comes together properly.
I think it could.
Yeah, it's it looks pretty cool. Well, they got into some third-party stuff. Let's run through that real quick here before we get going.
We saw Watch Dogs.
Watch Dogs
looks
finally official.
Yeah, we saw a new kind of gameplay trailer, for it, which was similar to the first one. But.
Yeah, similar in scope for sure. Look kind of cool. Deep Down from Capcom, which that's just a Dragon's Dogma game, right? That's DD, all that stuff. They got a new engine that they're working on for that is, I guess, an outgrowth of the MT Framework engine that they already use. Dragons, that's Japan's got dragons.
Dragons are always great. Dragons are always great. We got Bungie's Destiny. Destiny coming. They said PS4 and PS3.
Right.
And there's going to be some sort of PlayStation exclusive content there.
Yeah.
They didn't go into any depth on what that was.
It sounds like a DLC deal type thing where either they'll get something exclusive or get it first. Activision does that with Call of Duty and Microsoft. Right. And that probably works out pretty well for them. So I'd imagine it's a pretty similar deal. That sort of seems like the sort of thing that can go either way. Depending on what the content is. Sometimes that content, like, kind of whatever. But yeah, it was nice to see Bungie's game in motion. I went to Seattle last week and didn't see that much. Saw a lot of concept art, a lot of talk, so that was pretty crazy. But nice to see some guns being fired and
there was some actual
stuff.
That was in engine, right?
Yeah, that was in engine for sure.
That's the first time that I've seen it.
Yeah, so that'll be coming to PlayStation 4. And I need to go back and watch the tape, but it almost sounded like they were saying that was coming out at launch of the PlayStation 4.
That would be something to double check on because that it's going to be available on PS4 and PS3, but they said at the PS4 launch.
Yeah, but they've previously said, in their fiscal reports that they're not expecting Destiny for 2013.
Right.
But maybe the wording on that is such that we're not expecting Destiny for current generation consoles.
Right.
Maybe there's something there.
If you're expecting something, and
right.
to actually happen.
I don't think that they can get away with lying to their stockholders.
No, that doesn't seem likely.
But unannounced console stuff, maybe there's a way to get around that. But that sounds like it's about it. Anything?
I think that's everything we saw.
Yeah. All right, Eddie. Well, I'm Jeff. He's Eddie, and we're here in New York. They're still going to be talking a little bit more about the games and some roundtable sessions and stuff. So we'll be checking that out, and there'll be some more on the sites. So come back and check that stuff out.